Hello, Frog fans. Welcome back to Postgame Beers podcast. We are still in preseason mode. I know most people want to have game one on February 13th already, but we're still talking about our opponents, and we're excited to be here. I'm joined, my name's Kyle Malloy, by the way, joined by Jacob Sailors, my co-host, as well as Martin Guerrero. These two guys are going to shine tonight as we preview a number of other Big 12 teams throughout that are on the opponents for the Frogs this year. And so I'm kind of excited to learn about a few teams like Arizona State, Kansas State, Oklahoma State, West Virginia. These are teams that we're playing, whether here and away, and I think are going to have a massive impact on, honestly, whether or not we get back to
this is a loaded week of team previews for sure.
It's the biggest one so far. Do we have one more after this, and then we move on to the fun stuff?
That's it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So fellas, we have some really exciting news. If you're listening right now, especially if you're live right now, you already know, you've already seen the message on Twitter, on X, on Instagram, but the LDC, the Lupton Drinking Club, has started a Patreon. Now, why in the world would the LDC start a Patreon? It's year 5, as a reminder, it's our 5th year, and brother, expenses are building. All right. So we want to bring you not only the content that we've done before, like the Postgame Beers podcast, which is typically on Monday nights to kind of reset after the weekend, kind of talk about what happened. But last year, Jacob and Martin and occasionally Ray would jump in and kind of do some extra stat stuff, the deep dish on Thursdays. And they want to go even deeper than the deep dish. So we're going to continue to bring you the free Postgame Beers podcast on Mondays. We're also, whenever there's an away game series, we're going to try every away game series. If it's a big one, if it's a conference series, we're going to try to jump in at least one time that weekend for a Toadcast. And that way, we can watch the game together. We'd love to have you guys kind of jump in with us and chat about your feelings on the team or the player or whatever, and kind of shoot the shit. But we still want to do those things for free. However, there's going to be some premium content that I'm really excited about. Jacob, I'm going to let you take it from here to kind of talk about what that $6 a month is going to look like. $6, you're thinking, wow, in this economy. However, you're thinking, I could buy a half of a beer at Lupton for $6.
Right.
What does the LDC, what are they going to offer me? So Jacob, take it from here and let them know.
For $6 a month. And how did what was our scientific approach to pricing $6? Well, it's $1 for each time we've been to Omaha. That's, and actually it's funny. We got some feedback from one of our subbies yesterday that $6, that's it. I'm like, bro, we are not trying to like raid anybody's pockets with this. We're just trying to cover some expenses. That's really all we're trying to do. And so for $6, we'll bring you the Thursday deep dish, just like we did last year for free. That will move behind the paywall. We will also do a Big 12 podcast where we'll cover, the other teams in the Big 12 more in depth, kind of like we're doing these team previews, and that's a little bit surface level compared to how we'll talk about these teams behind the paywall. We'll also be doing some article writing. So Martin got us started yesterday by dropping his TCU draft stock article, which is a really fun read. I've read it a couple times now. And gotten some great feedback on that. That's the first of many to come. I'm working on one right now that has it's done a comparative analysis of the last 5 years of teams that made it to Omaha and what are the common aspects that make up those teams, and how does TCU compare to those teams based on the common variables of a typical Omaha team. So I'll be sending that out next week. Really excited for that. We got some other ideas for blogging. Like I'm excited for the writing aspect of it. It's not something we can really do in a podcast format. We can't really get into deep details on some of these things on a podcast. So writing will give us that opportunity to go, deeper into some of these things that are on our mind. We want to make it very engaging. There's a chat room option on there, and we're still exploring ways to utilize that. Like, today I dropped, a option for Q&A. So things like that. I also want to do contests, giveaways, things like that for people who subscribe. I want to do like a Big 12 fantasy league and have a prize for that for subscribers to participate in. Another thing that MK, you and I were talking about this, We want to, if you guys wanted to, the subscriber, join us for the Toadcast, watch the game with us online, participate in guest interviews, things like that. So, if you're a subscriber, join us, watch the game, BS around with us. And then, it'll be your chance to ask anything you've ever wanted to ask to Trey Richardson or whoever we have on as guest for the Toadcast. So that's really it. That's and it's an evolving project over time. We're going to keep exploring ways to bring you benefits for your $6 a month. So shout out to everybody who's already signed up, even though we're just now getting started. Really great response, kind of exceeded our expectations for the first 24 hours. So
yeah.
Hey, patreon.com/Lupton Drinking Club.
Is it worth shouting out some individuals
on the
Patreon? So let's start with number one, our first subscriber. I don't know if I'm going to go first names only, just in case anyone's worried about anonymity. But Brock, you're the first one, buddy. Really appreciate you. Thanks for logging in, for the first time and being our first subscriber. That's kind of a big deal for us. We'll remember that. Some other names: Scout, Craig, Travis, Shane, Kyle, Adam, Jeff, Alex, Peter, and Hayden. All you guys joined in within the first 24 hours. So we just want to shout your names out. Appreciate you. And thank you very much. Jake, if I can give you some real-time feedback on kind of the just the intro to the Patreon, I feel like we could have done a better job and maybe created like some commercial, maybe with the song, like In the Arms of an Angel.
100%.
By Sarah McLachlan. And, kind of just talked about us being sad and podcasting.
Ray struggling to edit the audio version and just he's slaving over a hot Inco.
Just a black and white screen of us podcasting sad after a game, and
me slamming my laptop because the formula doesn't work.
Please donate $6 to these sad.
Can feed a hungry Ray.
Martin, you haven't said anything yet. Tell me about your involvement with the Patreon and what you're excited to contribute.
Yeah, so for me, it's pretty big. One, because one of the big things is the Big 12 covers that we're going to be doing, because a lot of times, like when we do these preseason, we just talk about the teams that are on our schedule. We don't play 2 or 3 of these teams, so that's a whole year we don't talk about those teams. And we really just talk about them, one time in January, and then we don't talk about them again until we play them again.
Yep.
The Big 12 is a really good baseball conference. We had 8 teams in regionals last year. I think it's becoming one of the premier. I mean, it always kind of was top 3, but I think we're kind of closing the gap on those top 2, and I think it needs to be talked about more. So more coverage on the Big 12, I think, is huge for me. And then the other thing is, being able to write stuff down, because you guys know, the last 5 years, I'll send you something random in the group text that, nobody's really talking about, and I'll just either won't have an opportunity to say it on the podcast, or it just doesn't go with the conversation. So it's nice to have an outlet to do that.
Yep. Yeah. To kind of feed off that, the text conversations I have with Martin are super interesting. And I'm like, man, I wish we could get some of this out on the air. But like Martin said, it's just, it doesn't really fit into a podcast format. So having that article option for us is going to be huge. And you know what? We'll expand beyond baseball too. Like, I know Ray's excited to get his thoughts about women's sports that we really don't have time for on Postgame Beers. He's going to have that outlet to talk about volleyball and soccer and a little bit of basketball. So, yeah. I
hope he's got time for it. We didn't mention this earlier, but obviously Ray and Garrett aren't with us tonight. They've got some other activities going on, but we want them to contribute some other stuff as well. We don't want this to be exclusively frog ball, even though that's kind of what our bread and butter is. But if I can say this, just to kind of, hype you guys up a little bit, some of those text messages that we have back and forth, man, I learn a lot from you guys. And I do feel like our listeners and the people that enjoy frog ball can actually learn the same thing. We don't have time for it, or it's not, like you said, JD, it's not the right format to share it in a podcast. So I think if it's in written form, or maybe you guys add it to your deep dish later on in the week, or, Big 12 stats about Oklahoma State, whatever that is. I'm pretty excited. So
yeah, and just one other thing. It's small, but it's worth noting. Martin mentioned, with this chat option, and we have a community of subscribers already, like we shouted you guys out. We appreciate you. Hop in that chat. You can use it for, ticket sharing. Like if you have season tickets, you're not going to make it to the game, offer them to a subby, like the options are unlimited, really. What we can do with this.
If you have ideas about articles things that you're not hearing about from somebody else, hey, shout them out. Let us know.
Yep,
I'd love to learn about this. We'd love to get those ideas too. So I'm going to pause for a second just to recognize some of our sponsors. First off, our longest standing sponsor and continued sponsor, Long Drink. Really appreciate Caden this year. He's continuing to sponsor the LDC and supply us with stuff. And hey, some of those giveaways that JD talked about within the Patreon, maybe we'll come up with a package of Long Drink, Chinook Seedery, and pass that out to a lucky winner. So love the Long Drink. Excited for the weather to warm up after this weekend, because that's when it's the best. And then Chinook, we're back with them. Yep. Do we have the same promo code, JD, as last year, or is that going to change with the 2026 season?
It should still be the same. Promo code LDC. Go stock up for the season. They have a lot of new flavors. I don't have them listed in front of me, but I know they've expanded their product offering. So promo code LDC, get 10% off your order and every order. It's not just a one-time thing. Stock up for the season.
So I was surprised how many were purchased under our.
Yeah, no, it was a great response last year.
When you told me the number, I was like, you got to be kidding me. Cause I know I didn't buy that much, worth of seeds. So that's pretty awesome. Okay. And then I'm going to save Anduno for a little bit later, but Anduno is our third one, and we'll take a break a little bit later when we need just a refresher. So,
sounds good.
All right. Before
News
we jump
and notes. News and notes.
All right. Up to you.
News and notes. That's our, kind of our interstitial there. All right. Not much for this week, but Baseball America did drop their preseason ranking. They have the Frogs at number 9. That follows Perfect Game, who had us at 11, D1, who had us at 10. So the Frogs are doing work in the offseason. Just keep moving up the polls there. Number 9 at Baseball America.
Do we feel like these are accurate? I know they're consistent, but do we think they're accurate based on our expectations?
I don't know how much of synergy there is between the services. I think they all do their own independent research. I don't think they look at the others and say, well, Perfect Game had them at, 11. I'm saying that to say there's not a lot of variance in these rankings, which I like. It's not like D1 has us at 7 and then Perfect Game has us at 18 and Baseball America has us unranked. I feel like there's a pretty good understanding of what these services expect from TCU this year. And that's to be, kind of a fringe top 8 team, which would give us home field advantage through supers.
Although I think we've asked Kirk this question already, I am excited to kind of just gauge his thoughts on what, even for 5 minutes, does he care or think about these rankings, and what does he do with them? Right?
Oh, probably none at all. I mean,
I know, but it's like you still have to share a message with the team, right? If you're not ranked, that's an easy one for a coach to say, they don't believe in us, fellas. Let's prove them wrong, right?
Yep.
But this time it's like, hey, no, we had some work to do because we got to prove them right. And that was old GP,
Yeah, exactly.
Deal, but
moving on. So D1 announced their preseason All-Americans. We had Tommy Lepore and Sawyer Strohsnyder both on the second team. Feel like that's pretty fair. The especially with the outfielders, the first team outfielders, it's pretty stacked. There's only 3 of them. It's AJ Gracia, transfer from Duke to Virginia, I believe.
Yes.
Pull up. Yeah. It was Dylan Curry. I'm doing this off my memory. Dylan Curriel out of LSU, stud. And then Drew Burris out of Georgia Tech, stud. So it'll be interesting to watch Sawyer this year and how he compares to those guys, especially. But I feel like second's pretty fair, given that lineup.
Yeah.
Then finally, Texas Tech has announced they've sold out their allotment of season tickets for this year. Does that surprise you guys?
Already?
The fans, yeah, they're sold out. So now,
how big is their stadium again? Do we have
It's like 4,000, but they don't have standing room.
Right. So TCU never sells out.
Because the berm. I mean,
right.
they didn't sell out against Indiana State, which it was sold out.
Like 11,000 people there.
Right.
I think was it 11 or 7?
It was like, dude, it was like the biggest postseason attendance in any school.
I thought it was like 7,500 because physically
it was 5 digits, bro. It was 5 digits. It broke the state record for attendance for 11. A game.
Okay, all right.
So Texas Tech, they're historically second in the conference in attendance behind us. So I just found that interesting since they're kind of on a downward trajectory that the fan support's still there.
All right, so Texas Tech, Dan Law is 4,400.
Yeah.
But like you said, so there's no GA or anything?
No.
Not at all.
No.
Oh, you know what it is? It's Arkansas fans going to see their players for next year.
Well, Travis in the chat is asking if Campbell bought up all the tickets just so they could announce that.
I mean, he's got the money. He drops $1 million.
Exactly.
If he dropped $500,000, he probably buys all the tickets up and he can give them away for free.
Yeah. All right, that's it for news and notes. I'll turn it back over to host Kyle Malloy.
All right. So we've got a number of teams to preview tonight. A lot of Big 12 teams, like I mentioned, Arizona State, Lamar, which is not Big 12, Kansas State, Oklahoma State, West Virginia, and Cincinnati, who we're not playing, but worth discussing just to determine if they're going to be good or bad, or, kind of if we're going to be competing with them in the conference.
Yeah.
So let's kind of get the junk out of the way and start with a non-conference game against Lamar. The Frogs are playing on March 31st. By this point in the season, a month and a half in, we should have a pretty good feeling of whether or not this is a competing team or whether or not this should be an easy win. But let's go ahead. This will be right after we host Texas Tech the weekend before, and then we're actually going to be hosting Lamar after that. So Jacob, take it away and give us any news and notes on what we're going to see from them.
Yeah, so before I talk about Lamar, I do have a bit of breaking news. Shout out to our newest subby for the Patreon, Mama Yudi. I don't have the clap. Hold on, here we go.
There we go. We're in the house.
You obviously saw the little ticker down at the bottom of the screen. So
you also clicked that button that said this is not a conflict of interest and all that stuff because we're not associated with the program,
Right. We can do and say whatever we want. All right, so let's talk about Lamar. We get them Tuesday at Lupton, March 31st. So here's the thing. I saw Lamar on the schedule and I'm thinking, okay, what could be interesting about this preview? It's a throwaway Tuesday night game against a team that, we should handle. Would it surprise you to learn we're only 13-11 against them all time?
It's kind of embarrassing, to be honest.
Okay, let's make it worse. We're on a 2-game losing streak. They got us 10-5 in 2019 and 9-6 in 2023.
Yikes.
So just a couple years ago.
2023 makes more sense, but last year, yeah, that's tough.
But I will say it's a program on the rise. The last 2 years, they've won 40-plus games, and they haven't done that since 2004. Last year, they finished 40-17, and they were 20-10 in conference. They were, and as I'm reading this, I was, it's coming back to me. They were on the bubble to kind of sneak into the postseason, but they went 2-barbecue in the conference tournament.
Yeah, they're a team that the last 2 years, I think, has been on the bubble, and I guess stolen bids have kept them out.
Yeah. Now, why were they on the bubble with 40 wins? Well, it's scheduling. So they play a pretty weak schedule. Last year, they were swept by Rio Grande Valley. They lost to Houston, lost to Texas. They didn't really have a ton of notable wins. So that 40 wins, it's inflated. But again, just a couple years ago, they beat us. So last time they actually made a regional was the 2010 Fort Worth regional.
Yes. I just saw that the other day. What do we win? Like 9-0?
Yeah. They were fodder for sure. But it's a team on the verge of making the tournament. So this is an interesting Tuesday night game for us.
Do we know their coach at all?
You know what? The guy to ask would be me.
Sorry, I'm going to ask random questions. I don't expect you guys to know.
No. I should have had that answer
because I feel like we play them once every 2 years on average. I don't know.
Yeah, something
maybe
like
every
that.
year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. We played them 2 years ago, and the last time before that was 2019. So 3 years ago, actually. Whatever.
Any players we can hope to poach for 2027?
Probably not. So Lamar, they're kind of building their program through the portal. They're bringing in 20 new names this year, trying to bolster their lineup with power and speed while adding depth to their pitching staff. Nobody really jumped out as overly impressive from their roster, but I'll highlight a couple key guys. AJ Taylor is a transfer from UIC. He hit 8 home runs last year for that squad and was a former JUCO All-American. Balin Valentine had 63 hits and 20 stolen bases last year for Lamar. And then Bo Durbin, he played for Bradley last year. He's a really pesky on-base guy, tough out. So those are kind of the guys I wanted to highlight. I'm not going to talk about pitching because, one, they're trying to figure shit out through the portal, and two, it's a Tuesday night game, so there's no point in even trying to predict who they're going to pitch. So
I think they're a team that kind of targets older players who have either gotten at bats or come from a power school, and so it's going to be kind of hard to get a Lamar guy in the transfer portal.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I said probably not.
Yeah.
So
that's Lamar.
I'm looking through just real quick. I'm looking through their schedule. They have a really interesting non-conference schedule because they're trying to build up their RPI.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
that's what hurt them last year, big time.
They play Texas, Kansas, A&M, Rice. Let's see who else. Obviously us, and then a 3-game series against Oregon State. Kind of cool.
Yeah, that's a massive upgrade in schedule. So if they win 40 games this year, they will be in the tournament.
Okay, all right.
The Oregon State one is crazy because it's like right in the middle of Southland Conference play.
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah.
It says Beaumont, Texas.
Yep, that's where they're from.
Wait, so they're hosting Oregon State.
Oh, that's even crazier. Is that right?
Oh
It's at
my
home?
gosh.
Oregon State's going to Beaumont?
I thought when I looked at the Oregon State schedule, they were saying that they were going to Corvallis.
Should we go to that series? Cheer for Lamar?
And surely Oregon State's paying that trip, right? That's a lot for a Southland team to handle.
Okay, so that's the series after they come to Fort Worth. That's why they're already here.
That is crazy. Okay, well that's Lamar.
All right, cool. All right, that's back to it. So number 2, we're going jumping into Big 12. Excited here about this team. They're always in this conference they're going to be a contender, but Arizona State. So Martin, take it away.
Yeah, Arizona State, this is going to be a big transition year for them. There's been a lot of talk about what they're willing to invest in baseball, and, they're kind of a historic blue blood. So, they're talking about giving out all 34 full scholarships. They're investing in NIL. Willie Bloomquist, he took them to a regional for the first time last year as a head coach. They had an extremely veteran team, and they lost 9 guys to the draft. I'm going to name off these guys. They should sound familiar because we played a series against them last year. Brandon Compton, outfielder, was drafted in the 2nd round. Ben Jacobs, left-handed, that was their Friday guy. He was drafted in the 3rd round. Lucas Kelly, a relief pitcher, was drafted in the 6th round. Isaiah Jackson, center fielder, drafted in the 8th round. Jack Martinez, their Saturday pitcher, was drafted in the 8th round. Kyle Walker, their second baseman, was drafted in the 8th round. Kien Vu, outfielder DH, was drafted in the 9th round. And relief pitcher Will Koger was drafted in the 9th round. And their shortstop Matt King was drafted in the 10th round. That is
insane.
A ton of guys to lose to the draft.
And how did they not? I know they had a good year last year, but how did they not do even better with that much talent? That's what.
I mean, there was a lot of people thinking that they were going to win the Big 12, go to Omaha. It's interesting. Arizona went to Omaha, and Arizona State, just went to a regional. They also lost Josiah Cromwick and Jacob Tobias, and Jacob Tobias, I think, was like there 5 years. I think he's like top 5 or 10 in program home runs, this is where Barry Bonds went, and he's top 5 or 10 in home runs at the program for Sun Devils. couple of key returners on offense. Outfielder Landon Hairston, who's a freshman last year. He hit 333 with a 441 on base and a 467 slugging. He earned all Big 12 first team.
Can I give you a note on Landon Hairston?
Yes.
I was listening to, I don't even remember the pod, but I was listening to it and they had him on as an interview and they asked him who was the toughest away series. And he said, man, that Friday night game against TCU was crazy. It was my first start in right field. The crowd was on me the whole game. So he said TCU was the toughest away series last year.
That's cool. I wonder what he thought about Saturday.
He probably enjoyed that a lot more.
So yeah, he's considered to be a star in the making. All Big 12 first team as a freshman was pretty big. He also had a really productive summer league in the Cape. Another big returner is that Nuvu Contreras.
Yeah, stud.
And not a lot of people expected him to be back his senior year. That's another MLB talent. Injuries derailed him, but I think he's healthy now. So with all those guys that they lost to the draft, they had a huge transfer portal season.
Yep.
And so some of the guys that they brought in was Dean Toigo from UNLV. He was the Mountain West Co-Player of the Year. He had 377 with 18 home runs and 74 RBI. Pretty big. Dominic Longo, Utah Valley transfer, had a 952 OPS. He is going to be moving from third base to center field. The reason for that is they brought in Utah's starting third baseman, Austin Rolig.
Decent player.
Yeah, I don't know how to say this name. P.F. Mozardidis, shortstop from Cal. Garrett.
He goes by PJ. Just call him PJ.
Oh, PJ.
Yeah.
Garrett Mitchell, first base DH from Virginia Tech. He's got a OPS over 1,000 in 3 years at Virginia Tech. And then they brought in a first baseman from Cal, Dominic Smaldino. So yeah, they're going to be relying on a lot of transfers. And then on the pitching side,
hold on, you missed a transfer.
I wasn't going to name every single one, but
well, how about Sam Myers?
Oh yeah, I have him down further.
Oh man, seriously?
Yeah, I was gonna name him with Cole Klecker at the end, but
my bad. I'll let you do your preview.
So they lost a couple of guys in the draft on the pitching side. They're Friday and Saturday guys, Ben Jacobs and Jack Martinez. So the big name on pitching is Cole Carlone. He was a reliever for them last year. He made 29 appearances, struck out 86 in 54 innings, and held opposing hitters to a 1.67 batting average.
That's a lot of innings for a reliever. That's like starter innings.
He was like a big-time key reliever. That's why, he's going straight to Friday night as a sophomore. Or, no, he might be a junior this year, but straight from the bullpen to Friday night. He's a 6'5" lefty, nasty stuff. Fastball tops out at 97. He's got a cutter that induces a 71% whiff rate, which, this was something they worried about last year with Jack Martinez. He was going from a reliever at, I think, Louisiana to starting on Saturday, and he was great. So
yeah, he was.
They also returned the third starting pitcher from last year, Easton Barrett. He put up a 4.31 ERA in 10 starts. And then on they're still kind of light on starting pitching, which could lead them to relying on former TCU right-handed pitcher Cole Klecker. He's hoping to return to his freshman form. But the Sun Devils will have a nasty.
We said that the last 2 years, brother.
Yeah. Can we have this discussion real quick? Is this a safe space?
Yeah, we've been saying it the last 2 years, and they're going to be saying it this year.
We're live on YouTube. It's very safe.
Look, love Cole Klecker. That freshman year was great. He pitched for us in Omaha. He damn near took down Jack Caglione in an elimination game. With that said, if we take the guy Cole Klecker away, let me just ask you this: with
This is
all
like
these,
no
preferences,
offense,
look,
but no offense,
but if TCU was rolling out Cole Klecker as a projected weekend starter, how would you be feeling about our rotation?
not good, not good.
Right, that's very fair to say, right?
Yeah, I mean, based off his last 2 years of production,
Right.
that's kind of tough. I mean, even if he would have come back, I would have just expected him to be a guy to the bullpen.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I think that speaks to the kind of lack of depth that the Sun Devils have on the starting pitching side. But they do have a deep bullpen, which they've had for a couple of years, and this is not. I don't know why, with the arms that they had last year with Jack Martinez, Ben Jacobs, they still struggled with starting pitching last year also, even though they had like super talented guys. I mean, they just, I don't know, as far as production at the college level, they kind of struggled, and that's kind of why they didn't have as much success as people thought they would have.
Yeah, that's crazy to me.
So he's projected as a starter?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Either Sunday or maybe their fourth guy.
If he's their fourth guy, I feel better about Arizona State
Mm-hmm.
from an Arizona State perspective. Worse from a TCU perspective.
Yeah. And then Sam Myers is, I think, battling for center field.
Yeah. If everything breaks right for ASU, they could be dangerous. But there's a lot of question marks with this team. I mean, 6 out of their 9 projected starting lineup are transfers.
Yeah, and they kind of said that last year, and I thought, I mean, they had way more talent than they have this year.
Do they? Like as far as next level talent or just college production?
I don't think they have 9 draft picks.
That's an insane amount, honestly.
Dude, usually if you lose that much draft talent, you're taking a step back. I don't care who you bring in the portal.
Right.
I don't care if you're Lamar.
But I think they underperformed last year. So do you think it's fair to say they can match their performance last year, even if on paper they take a step back, but regression brings them up a notch? Does that make sense?
Yes. I believe even if everything does click, they might not even be as good as they were last year.
Yeah.
All right. So that's the first Big 12 series that the Frogs play.
Oh, yeah. We get that early. Interesting. Interested.
So let's jump ahead into April, where the Frogs are heading to Manhattan, Kansas, which they've struggled with, to be honest. I'd say I don't know if you're going to give us some stats on the last 5 series or 10 series, but I always feel like it's one of those things where it's the same thing as football. Whenever the Frogs go to Manhattan, they always struggle. So, all right, continue on, Martin.
So this is another team coming off a regional, which back-to-back regionals for Kansas State, which, not everybody in the Big 12 can say that. This is kind of a high point for the program. It was interesting last year. They had a very tough schedule. They were doing things like playing Northwestern in midweeks or something like that for boosting RPI. They didn't really do that this year. So it kind of makes me wonder, what does Pete Hughes think about this year's team?
Yeah. Yeah, because he's made that a point of emphasis to strengthen their RPI because they've gotten burned by the committee.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it was like I do believe he thought he had a good team last year, good enough to make a regional, especially after 2 years ago they played in a super regional, right? They won the Fayetteville regional.
Yep, they sure did. Right after we won the Fayetteville regional.
Yeah, so I feel like he was trying to, I guess, prove a point with that schedule last year. With the soft schedule this year, I'm wondering what he thinks they're going to do this year. But anyways, they lose a couple of big names. Maximus Martin was their shortstop, I believe, last year.
Stud.
Yeah, they lost him to the Red Sox in the draft. And then Seth Dardar, they lost him to LSU in the transfer portal.
Don't really remember him as much, but
I think he was their DH. But, I mean, if LSU gave him the big bucks, he might be good. Some of the guys I really like on their offense is Shintaro Inoue, second baseman, and AJ Abasco. I'm not sure what position he plays. I seen him play outfield when we played them in Globe Life last year. He's also played some first base, but Shintaro, He hit 279 with a 407 on base and a 446 slugging. He played solid defense at second base. Gritty player, he just had one more strikeout than he had walks last year. Probably going to be their leadoff hitter. He also received interest in the NPB draft in Japan, so they almost lost him to the Japanese draft. So I thought that was interesting. AJ Vasco, he was a guy I really liked last year. As a freshman, he was 6 foot. He's 6'6", 220 pounds. He broke the Kansas State freshman record for home runs and RBI.
Yeah, I think he's their best player, honestly.
He's like their best pro prospect since what was that left-handed pitcher that they had a few years back? I think.
What about their third baseman? I remember who you're talking about, but
yeah, no, I think this guy's better than that.
Yeah, he's good.
So he hit 311 with 380 on base and 554 slugging. He was named a freshman All-American by D1 Baseball. And then Shintaro, I think, was named preseason second baseman All Big 12 by Perfect Game. So these are a couple of big guys they're bringing back.
Were you talking about Jacob Frost? Went 10th round to the Dodgers?
No. This guy was a first-round draft pick, I think in like 2019 by the Cubs.
Okay, hold on. Yeah, I got to go way back. Yeah, keep going. I'll break in with more.
So a couple of familiar faces, Micah Kendrick and Cohen Feaser.
Oh, Jordan Wicks.
Yeah, Jordan Wicks. That's
2021 to the Cubs, first round.
Yeah.
Cohen Feaser transferred to Kansas State?
Yeah, sorry to step on that, but yeah.
Did I miss that? I know he
probably because I did till like 2 minutes ago when I saw it.
Yeah, Kendrick should get some playing time, some at bats. There was a lot of turnover as far as the offense. And
there's nothing in their lineup that really scares me, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, Kendrick, he looked pretty good when we seen him in the fall. He's a good hitter. And then Feaster's in talks to be a possible weekend starter for them also. Big name Carson Leggett. He was a transfer from Louisville last year, but he had Tommy John surgery or some kind of elbow surgery, so he missed the whole year. And he was projected to be their Friday night starter last season, coming out of the fall. Hughes, in the fall report for D1, told them that Leggett will probably start the season as a closer for them. Lincoln Sheffield is back. He gave TCU fits. Globe Life last year. Yeah, crafty lefty. So they bring in a very interesting team as far as the blend of veterans and new guys. Unfortunately, like you said, the series is in Manhattan, Kansas this year. It's historically been much tougher than when they play in Fort Worth.
I'm just not impressed with their schedule. I'm going to be honest.
I'm not impressed with their team. I mean, Lincoln Sheffield is scary because of the past, but outside of that, man. Now, what does scare me is, and I'll say this for TC's road schedule in general, I kind of hate playing them on the road, and that applies to several teams on their schedule. But
especially the northern teams.
Yeah. Like, I'm about to talk about West Virginia. I'm not excited about going to Morgantown.
You hope that by mid-April, it's not – well, actually, it's early April. Shit. It's not so freezing and, cold there, but I don't know. Kansas could be anything at that point.
Yeah, but hey, you know what? We're supposed to be good this year, so we'll find with this road schedule. We'll know. We'll know about TCU. Anyway, what else you got, Martin, on K-State?
That's all I got.
Okay.
Excellent.
Wait, no, I did have one more thing. David Bishop will be a graduate assistant.
Okay, I was wondering about that. What he was up to.
So he's still there. He's just not playing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Still in school, I guess.
Good for him. Get his degree or advanced degree, whatever.
Yep.
Still in purple.
Majoring in farming or whatever they study up there in Manhattan.
I'll never forget that one time he hit that home run. So
he did hit that home run.
All right.
Did it, that home run.
Okay, so after Kansas State, we're going to move on to our first weekend in May against Oklahoma State in Stillwater. It's an away series. It typically is a tough one if you count the last year or two. I don't know. So
yeah, add it to what we were just saying about road slate. It's another tough one. We got to go to Stillwater in May. Yeah. And MK, you haven't been up there yet. I suggest you try to get out there. It's a lot of fun going to that ballpark.
Well, especially the new one, right?
No, that's what I mean. Yeah. We really enjoyed our last trip out there. I want to say it was like 2022.
All right. I'm looking at my calendar now.
Maybe 20. I don't know.
Like I have to plan stuff 6 months out. Otherwise I get in trouble. So
yeah, kids. Am I right, bro?
Kids. Oh, geez. 3 kids and they take up all my time. You know what I'm saying?
So this is a good rivalry. And, when we talked about our schedule last year, it was one of the teams we were disappointed not to see on the slate. And so historically we're 33-31 against Oklahoma State. So very even. We're 17-9 at home and 8-16 on the road. So the home team has really had the upper edge. And like we just said, we go to Stillwater this year. So last year they struggled a little bit compared to what you expect from an Oklahoma State team, but they did sneak into a regional and they made some noise. They knocked out Georgia, who was the host in the Athens regional. And then they lost a heartbreaker to Duke on a controversial call at first base. Last time we played was in 2024, but both teams are much different now, even though that was just 2 years ago. Last year, like I was saying, they scuffled a bit. They were 30-25. But they were 18-6 at home. So it's important to keep that in mind as we go to Stillwater. They had wins over Louisville, Texas A&M, Mississippi State. They swept K-State. And obviously with that home record and 30-25 overall, they were terrible on the road. They were swept in Lawrence and lost the series to Utah, to note. Looking at their hitters, I named a few guys here. So we'll start off with Colin Bruggerman, who he's a senior first baseman. He's been there forever. Lots of playing time for Colin. Last year, he posted a 947 ops, 155 games as a Cowboy, a true staple in the middle of the lineup. Next, we have Colin Ritchie, who I believe is their best player, most proven hitter. He's a junior outfielder. Last year, he had a 1.061 ops. Brock Thompson, he didn't put up impressive numbers last year. He's a sophomore second baseman. Didn't have the best regular season, but he really came alive in the postseason and helped that mission along in getting to the regional final. All right, now this is where it gets interesting with Oklahoma State is they're going to rely heavily on freshman talent, especially in the outfield. So get to learn these names, Ezra Essex and Danny Wallace. And then a third guy who's expected to make an impact. I have him on my first team all-name team. It's outfielder Remo Indomenico. Remo Indomenico.
Say that 4 times fast.
I practiced this and still had to hesitate. Remo Indomenico.
That's racist.
With a name like that, he can do anything but play baseball.
Right. Same with Danny Wallace. So Donnie Wallace and Remo Indomenico will be patrolling the outfield. All right. So they're pitching. The projected ace is junior Hunter Watkins. Last year, he pitched 64 innings with a 5.43 ERA, 70 strikeouts, and only 23 walks. Their Saturday guy is scheduled to be Mario Pesco, a senior, 66 innings pitched last year, 60 Ks, and only 18 walks. All right, so after that, they're really relying on mostly unproven guys. Projected Sunday starter, Ethan Lund, is a sophomore who only pitched 9 innings last year. Out of the pen, a lot of question marks. They're relying on Hudson Barrett. He's a lefty transfer from UCSB, Santa Barbara, and TP Wentworth, a lefty from Clemson. So the overall story on Oklahoma State is, this is what is interesting to me. Oklahoma State teams in the past would mash. This team is going to be reliant more on speed and athleticism. For them to be successful this year, and I believe they can because they have a lot of talent coming in and they need those freshmen to make immediate impacts. But what is a bigger question mark for Oklahoma State, their pitching will really have to take a step forward this year. So how their pitching goes and their freshmen will determine Oklahoma State's season. It could be a really mediocre year for Oklahoma State, or they could be contending for the conference.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Josh Holliday has been there for 13 years, 13 seasons. What do we think about? What do we think about him? What do they think about him?
Well, I think last year, given the growing pains they were going through and kind of a little bit depleted on talent, to make a regional final has bought him some leeway up there. I mean, they have historic success, right?
They do, absolutely. They're in regionals every year. It's more of a, is this a Tim Tadlock type deal where it's like, hey, we're gonna have you as long as you want to be here type situation?
Okay, so first of all, he's kind of a legacy guy up there with his dad being the former coach. So I think that buys him a lot of leeway. But also, MK, they've been in a regional last 5 years.
Yeah.
And then they missed. Okay, they've been in regional. Hold on, 2020 doesn't count. So that was the only year they missed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They've been in a regional the last 12 years. Now, with that said, they've only been in a super twice and Omaha once.
That's what I guess I'm wondering is, at what point, or what's the breaking point of, like, you've reached a regional every year and that's the expectation. That's the floor, right? But you've never reached the
If they miss a regional this year, then let's talk about it.
Okay.
But I think making a regional 12 straight years.
I'm not putting them on the hot seat. I'm not putting them on the hot seat.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
I'm just saying, do the fans get bored with the same thing over every year?
I was surprised that they do make a regional as often they do, because it does feel like they're not as good as they were in the past historically. But I think Josh Holliday is more dug in than Tim Tadlock is at Texas Tech. I mean, Tadlock played at Texas Tech. Josh Holliday played at Texas Tech, but his dad was also like a Hall of Fame coach. His dad does the broadcast on ESPN Plus, and they still make regionals. Texas Tech does not make regionals.
Right.
But
not anymore.
Right. The biggest surprise for me with Oklahoma State is, like, all these years that they've been gifted a host and they still lose.
Dude, that's the thing.
So I think that's what I'm going back to is Oklahoma State is probably the most consistent in terms of regionals. But if you looked at TCU, when they get a regional, when they get a super, they take advantage of that.
Yeah.
And they go farther, you know?
So let's see, from 2022, 2023, and 2024, they hosted and did not win the regional. That's crazy.
Yeah. So like TCU, for example, 2021 was, we were like top 6, I think, in the country. We would have hosted supers if we would have gotten that far, and we lose to Oregon State and DBU. Like, imagine having that season 3 out of 4 years.
Yeah. No, this has always bugged me about Texas Tech is, look, I love 11.7, but they still hold on to this. Boy, you got to go to Lubbock. Can't win there. And I'm looking at them like, okay, they do all right when they host. They do, but it's not as good as what TCU does at Lupton.
Right.
Why don't we have that reputation of, oh, you got to go to Lupton for a regional. Good luck. Like, we don't get that reputation.
Yeah, it seems like the team who gets a reputation for Lupton regionals is DBU, because they've won 2 in 50 years.
For real.
Their only 2 regional wins ever was in 2011 and then 2021.
Yeah.
And it was probably based on the team that they had, not the location. It's like they were just better at that time.
Yeah. All right. You want to move on?
Yeah. All right. Last conference series of the year for the Frogs is the middle of May against West Virginia. That will be in Morgantown. The last time Martin went there, didn't go great. So we'll find out if he's going to travel or not. Take the train.
Yeah.
Martin, let's break down JD, you're up for
yes, sir. West
for
Virginia. So Steve Sabins took over last year for Randy Mazey and did not miss a beat. 3 straight years they've been in a regional, and the last 2 years they've made it to supers. So their fans are thirsty for an Omaha appearance. That's kind of their expectation for this year. As far as TCU is concerned, we're 26-13 against West Virginia, but only 1-5 in the last 6. So you mentioned Martin's trip to Morgantown where we got swept. Well, I'm pretty sure we were all there at Lupton when we lost the series 2 out of 3. So this is a team that, TCU really needs to turn it around against because they've kind of had our number. So talking about West Virginia, their fans, they feel insulted that they're not being ranked. But I think there's good reason because this is kind of, 3 straight years in a regional, but this is the first year they're having to deal with real turnover. The star of the show, though, is second baseman sophomore Gavin Kelly. He had a really nice freshman year. He is going into this year a preseason all Big 12 guy at second base. And like I said, the rest of the lineup, it sees a lot of turnover. They have 4 transfers coming in. The remaining starters coming back are mostly just role guys, nobody too impressive. Third baseman Armani Guzman's a nice player. He had an 852 ops last year, but I didn't see a lot of guys outside of Gavin Kelly that I'm like, yeah, we need to talk about him. On the pitching side, this is crazy. They have 2 D2 guys coming in to fill out their weekend rotation. So talking about turnover, it's tough when you're a program like West Virginia and you've made it to the Supers 2 years in a row. Can you keep that up, being where they are, recruiting guys in Pennsylvania and Ohio? And they do have a nice pipeline in South Florida randomly. I would really love to know about that and how that, came about. So outside of those 2 D2 guys who are going to be at the top of the rotation, they do have Chase Meyer coming back. He's a junior who pitched 48 innings last year with a 3.94 ERA. He had 63 strikeouts, but he also allowed 38 walks in those 48 innings. So big question marks on the mound for West Virginia. And are they going to be able to replace guys like J.J. Weatherholt, who was a first-round pick, I believe?
Man, I hated that guy.
Oh, man, he was good, but he ain't walking back through that door.
That was 2 years ago, right?
Was it?
Yeah.
Well, it's definitely last time. We didn't play them last year, right?
Right.
That's
so
right.
The last time we saw him, at least. But okay, yeah, they made it to Supers without him. I thought he was a last year draft pick, but I didn't really pay a lot of attention to WV last year, so that's my bad.
Is there any chance that this last series for the Frogs makes a difference in terms of like Big 12 conference seeding or regional seeding, or what do you think? At this point, do you think we have stuff locked up?
I hope so.
Yeah, me too.
I don't know. It's too tough to say right now. I mean, there's going to be a lot of data between now and when we play West Virginia.
That's a great time to visit Morgantown. I'll tell you that.
It'll be a great weekend to tune into the deep dish on Patreon.
Okay. Anything else on West Virginia? All right.
Sorry, no, I was reading the chat. I was trying to figure out who KM24483 is. And
I don't know what that is. I have no idea what that is. I don't know what that's associated with. I have no idea what that number is.
Right. I will say this. I will say this before Martin goes into his next team. So we're giving you guys kind of the surface level preview of these teams. And like Martin talked about before, in years past, this will be the only time we really talk about these teams until TCU plays them. So I say that to say, when we do our Big 12 pod on the Patreon, we will go into these teams a lot deeper, not only in preseason, but as the season goes. A team like West Virginia, who has a lot of questions, we'll be talking about them in April, saying, wow, West Virginia, the turnover caught up to them. They're having a tough year. We'll be digging in. And before the season, we'll go, as deep as we want. And we'll talk about these guys more in depth. So right now we're just giving you the basic preview, but subscribe to the Patreon.
Josh Holiday firmly on the hot seat.
Yeah, you get hot takes.
Mid-March.
We will have hot takes.
All right. Before Martin gets to our last series, or actually not series, just the team, Cincinnati, I'm going to talk about Anduno. They are a travel and recovery brand for athletes. These guys went to TCU. They're TCU fans, and they have some amazing bags available for you guys. The travel duffel has been incredible for us over the holidays. I've used it multiple times. Pockets everywhere. You've got a different section for your shoes to make sure they don't, smell up the rest of your stuff. I've used it a ton of times and appreciate them. So check out Anduno, ANDUNO. Awesome brand, and we appreciate their sponsorship. So with that said, let's finish up with Cincinnati. Martin?
Yeah, speaking of Anduno, I just took mine to San Diego. My wife's cousin graduated from boot camp at the Marine Corps depot.
Okay.
I mean, it's the perfect bag. It's so full. Like, you could fill it up. You could just it fits under your seat, so you can take it as a carry-on. You can just throw it on as a backpack. I couldn't ask for another bag.
Did you go to UCL or LA for any reason?
I flew into LA and then we drove down to.
You flew into LA, went to San Diego.
Yeah,
it's kind of far.
Do you check out the Bruins by any chance?
Yeah, I sabotaged the Bruins. Yeah.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about.
Fun fact, MK, Martin sent me a video of the graduation, and I'm like, okay, from where you're sitting, turn around, look behind you. That was my squad bay in boot camp.
Oh, wow.
He was like 10 feet away from where I used to get screamed at every single day.
Dude, so one of my buddies in pharmacy school was at the same one,
Oh yeah.
Moved back to San Diego for a while, and then now he's in, Florida. He's 50 and he's about to retire because he stayed in the service that long. He's like, now I'm looking for my next job as a big boy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Support the Marines, support the troops.
It's a badass ceremony, man. I got to march in one. I was pretty proud of that. It was a lot of fun that day.
Did you get tapped out like all those Instagram videos where I'm crying on my bed?
No, I think that's just the Army.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't even know what you're talking about.
It's some stuff that went viral, but our Marine, she said that's probably just Army. But so anywho. Cincinnati, I had no idea we actually don't play them this year, but
well,
I did the most research on this team.
So I knew we didn't play them only because today I listened to a podcast, the Head First podcast. I got to shout these guys out.
Nice.
They let me see what they. So it's a general college baseball podcast, but it's hosted by former Cincinnati players. So they're kind of slanted towards Cincinnati. And
That's
they did their
badass, though. They actually have some experience playing.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome. Yeah. In fact, their first segment was, what was your welcome to college baseball moment?
Oh, love it.
So they shared stories being a freshman and like facing some guy who made them look ridiculous. And anyway, so it was a good listen. They did their Big 12 preview pod, and basically they are super high on TCU. And they said, I'm glad we don't play them this year. And that's where I learned that we don't play Cincinnati. So shout out to those guys. That is a Head First podcast if you want to check them out.
I'll flip it. I think Tech was a fraud in football because they didn't take on the Frogs last year. I'll drop it.
Yeah,
at that.
they don't have the saddle. Like I don't take you seriously if you don't have the saddle.
All right, Martin.
So Cincinnati is actually one of my favorite Big 12 teams that's not TCU. I mean, we've been doing this 5 years. Kansas and Cincinnati, I think people know. I was kind of high on them even before they started going to regionals. Bishop Ball. So a couple of big losses from last year. Outfielder Landon Viderick was drafted by the Dodgers, and Carrington Cross, their third baseman.
Stud.
Yeah, he was drafted by the Padres.
That dude was crazy.
He was so good, dude.
Yeah. He was Big 12 Player of the Year last year, and
deservingly.
Viderick was all Big 12 honorable mention. Both of them put up OPS over 1,000. One of the big guys they're bringing back is starting pitcher Nathan Taylor. I think he's been their Friday guy the last 2 years. I'm not 100% sure. Actually, I think he did go up against Peyton Tolley 2 years ago in Cincinnati when I was there. And yeah, he beat Peyton Tolley.
Yep.
So he's one of the most productive returners in the Big 12 this year. He has 31 starts under his belt, almost 160 innings pitched, 161 career strikeouts, and a 15-4 career record. He will be going into the season undisputed Friday night ace for Cincinnati this year. Another big guy is catcher Jack Natili. Last year he had 338 with a 451 on base and a 556 slugging.
And he kicked our ass.
Yeah, last year he was
Carrington Cross didn't do a whole lot, but Jack Natili picked up the slack.
Yeah.
I mean, we swept that series, right? Or did we win 2 out of 3? I don't remember. We won we did well, but Jack Natili made it hard.
Yeah, I just remember 2 years ago we got
No,
swept.
yeah, that's definitely more memorable. Getting swept.
Yeah. And the Saturday and Sunday games were not close. So he was a second team All Big 12 last year, and then he's preseason first team All Big 12. I think that was perfect games. And then another big guy they're bringing back is Quentin Coates. He's an infielder. He hit 315 with a 400 on base and a 541 slugging. Last year he was playing mostly first base, but he should slide over to third with Cross moving on. I mean, they did lose some star power production and veteran leadership from last year's team who made a regional. So that was kind of crazy. So last year, their last 3 regional appearances, 2025, 2019, and 1974.
Shit.
Hold on, Jacob. When you were talking about the series against Cincinnati, what year were you talking about?
Oh, last year we won 2 out of 3. We lost a tough Sunday match, 9-8.
Okay.
I should have known we didn't sweep because I don't.
For some reason, I went back 2 years when Martin visited the great state of Ohio and we got swept.
I think was Kansas our only sweep last year, which was awesome. Oh no, BYU.
Oh yeah, BYU. That's interesting.
No, we lost to freaking Houston. Golly, man.
And we lost. Didn't we lose this? Well, we lost series to UCF, and
yes,
we did not sweep Utah, right?
We did not sweep Tech. We did not sweep Utah, but we digress.
Yeah, and
didn't sweep Baylor. How did we not sweep Baylor? How did we not sweep Baylor?
Should we change the podcast to We Digress? Because that's all we do.
Damn, no wonder we didn't host. I know we've talked about this a million times.
We didn't sweep anybody, fellas.
Well, BYU and
BYU.
Kansas. No, Kansas was a big sweep, dude.
Mm-hmm.
That was a good Kansas team we beat.
They kind of
Fresno. That team was way better than expected.
I'm talking about conference.
It's interesting because there's been like a revelation in the Big 12 because when Texas and OU left, it really looked like it was TCU, Oklahoma State, and Texas Tech, and that was it.
Yep.
Well, Oklahoma State and Texas Tech haven't done anything, and you got West Virginia going to 3 regionals, going to super regionals. What was it? 2 years ago.
2 years.
Kansas State
2 years in a row. 2 years in a row.
2 years in a row. And this is even before you include Arizona and Arizona State.
Right. Arizona went to Omaha.
Yeah. You got West Virginia doing what they did. You got Cincinnati making their first regional since 2019.
Kansas, the little engine that could, the JUCO All-Star team.
Yeah, and they all do it like different ways. Baseball, you got the JUCO route with Kansas. You got West Virginia, stealing all the bases and I don't know how they win 40-something games after losing J.J. Weatherholt. These are kind of the teams that TCU has kind of struggled with the last 2 years, except for Kansas.
Yeah, well, Kansas at home, right? Like, didn't we lose the series a couple years ago? And yeah, it definitely did.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, you're right.
It's cold there whenever they visit.
But Kansas last year, they really made their money at home. I mean, they destroyed teams at home. They were not very good on the road, and we took advantage of that. That was huge for us. Now, it didn't result in hosting, but man, quite frankly, not to get off on this tangent again, but we didn't deserve it last year.
Going back to your point, Martin, like the traditional powers in the Big 12 outside of Texas and Oklahoma are not what we expected when we moved into this new era.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's much more parity than we expected.
And I mean, I think that's good for the conference. 8 teams made regionals last year, and Texas Tech wasn't one of them.
That's crazy.
But it's very football, though, like where you have a lot of good teams, but we didn't have a host because nobody stood out.
So outside of TCU, which has been hyped up as a top 10, 9, 10, 11 team this year, if you were going to pick another host for the regionals, who would that be?
Arizona.
Okay.
If I was going to ask you guys this, I didn't know if I was going to do it tonight or save it, but if I took TCU and Arizona and you guys get the field, how would you feel about your chances of winning the conference?
I would pick the field because the Big 12 has just been a cluster.
The odds are in your favor, but if things go at all according to plan, it should be TCU or Arizona.
I agree.
Yeah.
According to plan, which has not
even
happened.
Between those two, like it's the way national guys are talking about it, it's TCU. Now who has a chance to beat TCU?
And that's interesting. I don't know if I agree with that. I think
I mean, I don't want to be a homer guy, but we have a frontline ace. We have depth at pitching. Now, that's kind of the question mark is depth at pitching, but I believe in our pitching.
Yeah.
At least from an aggregate, right? I don't know if you can point to one guy and say, we definitely have this guy. Maybe Mason Brassfield. But after that, it's a lot of talent. Now we got to find a role for them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But the lineup, I don't remember this good of a lineup. Maybe 2016? We're talking.
Struggling. Okay.
What TCU lineup in the last 10 years would you take over this year's?
Last 10 years? Probably none.
Right. Now,
we do have time.
What other team can you say that about in the Big 12?
We do have time to talk about our team disappointing us. I just want to throw that out because the season hasn't started yet. So it's like we can wait until we lose a few games.
I mean, look, there's always injuries, right? You can't predict that. Like if Lepore goes down, it's a very different TCU team.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to talk about this again when we talk about TCU, but I'm guilty of underestimating the loss of Ben Abelt last year. However, I think everybody else overestimated it. I think the truth is somewhere in the middle. I think I was reacting to the overreaction, so I underreacted.
So basically they would have done a regional, but probably not, gone any further.
Look,
at Oregon
my
State,
point on Ben Abelt was he's never been a starter before. So you're just assuming he's going to go into that role. Yeah. Now, I will say I tweeted this out. Dylan Volantis in Texas, dominant reliever. He's now their Friday night guy. So I'll be watching UT to see how Dylan Volantis does and try to get some sort of idea of what we actually missed out on with Abelt last year. If Dylan Volantis is like all SEC and Texas is hosting a super regional because of Dylan Volantis, I'll be like, damn, what would TC have done last year with Ben Abelt? Because it's similar profiles.
Mm-hmm.
So now if he scuffles a little, they're not the same guy. I get it. It could have played out a lot different, but at least we'd have some sort of baseline to judge what we lost in Ben Abelt out of the rotation last year.
Yeah, I also wonder, okay, let's say Ben Abelt struggled as a starting pitcher. How long would it take for him to move back into the bullpen?
He probably wouldn't have.
Interesting.
Because, I only say that because Braden Sloan was amazing as a reliever, and he never started.
Mm-hmm.
That was a pretty big hit. Okay, so while we're on this topic, I don't want to ruin anything.
We're just riffing now. We're all 5 beers deep, so let's just riff.
we've lost a pretty big arm this year. I don't know if we want to bring that up or you want to save that for the Patreon show.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to do a team preview, but screw it. I mean, the people listening now will listen again when we preview the team. So,
was that a blow to obviously our relievers? But
you talking about Lewis?
Yeah. Did he have a chance to start at all, or do we think?
I think if he would have started, it meant somebody else didn't perform and win the job. Because going into this year, you have obviously Lepore, Brassfield on Saturday. Mm-hmm. Most likely, it'll be Baumler on Sunday.
He had a good summer, spring, whatever.
Well, he really came on at the end of last year and then had a really good summer. Mm-hmm. What was he, Martin? Like Cape Cod All-Star, something like that?
Yeah, he was an All-Star.
But he's in a battle with Lance Davis. And then you have guys like Nate Stern, who really came along last year. Cade Udy, who was solid out of the pen most of last year. So, I mean, yeah, Lewis wouldn't have been – I don't know if he would have been battling for a starting role this year.
Okay.
But to your point, I don't like that we don't have his arm.
Yeah. Like, I'd like that we've had Lewis the last 3 years. He was always an option to be a swingman. You know, he could save you a game. He could start a game.
He's a streaky guy, though.
Yeah, but
when he's on, he's unhittable, and then he'll just go cold. And it's what the hell? He loses command.
He was always the guy that if your starter wasn't on and you have to be done with him in 1.2 innings, you're like, all right, bring on Lewis to clean this up a little bit, you know.
And then you just hope he's on. Yeah. It was never automatic with him, but when he was on, he was unhittable.
Yeah, I just hate not having the option to have him.
Exactly right. But I love another year of Cade Udy development there. And if we look forward to 2027, you got to think Cade Udy's in that weekend rotation.
Yeah,
along with Brassfield.
Yeah,
and then who knows? The Wichita State pipeline might get us another Burley right hand or Burley starting pitcher.
Kind of wild, right?
I love it. Keep feeding us.
And then we got Fernsler, where
lest I forget.
Kirk is dropping Nick Lodolo and talking about Fernsler.
That's crazy.
Now he's had some injury issues in the fall, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think he was injured like his senior year. He missed most of the fall, so I would not expect him starting, early.
But I would love to see him at some point this year do something.
Yeah. Especially since we don't have many lefties in the bullpen.
Right.
I mean, we're jumping into.
Yeah, this is like the after show at this point.
Yeah. All I have for Cincinnati was their Eastern European names.
Mm-hmm.
Nolan Jaworski.
Polish.
We got Luke Stefik and Cal Stefik.
Okay, I don't know the nationality there.
Wait, the last name is Stefik?
Stefik, Sefcic, Cik. I think it's Austrian.
Okay.
Or Czech.
Austrian
or Czech.
Let's put another shrimp on the Barbie.
No, that's the other Austria.
That's a Dumb and Dumber
joke. That's the kangaroo
joke,
Austria.
That's a Dumb and Dumber joke, brother.
Luke Costco, Ryan Transky.
Luke Costco?
Yep.
Love the meatballs.
Dude.
Big meatball guy.
We spend a lot of money at Costco every month. I'm just telling you.
Oh, look at me. I'm in K. I spend a lot of money.
If he owns any part of that, then he owns me.
Charlie D. Ruff and Adam Bukowski.
Polish.
Bukowski.
I love Polish names. Polish names are tough sounding. I like that. Not like my name. Scottish trade name.
Sailor boy.
Yeah.
Born to be a military man. Fellas, what else do we got before we sign off tonight?
I don't know. I think we've taken up everyone's time enough tonight.
If you're still here, holy moly, thank you for being here.
Yeah. Hey, if you're still here, why aren't you subscribing to the Patreon? You obviously love the content. So Subscribe for more.
Half a beer a month. We can give you extra stuff.
Yeah. And look, I'll tell you this right now. If I see any subbies out at Lupton, I'm buying you a beer. So I'll make up your subscription for you.
Oh, just throw that out there.
Yeah, no, that's done. Find me at Lupton. If you're a subby, beer's on me. So right there, like it's basically a free subscription.
Mm-hmm.
Grateful for y'all that signed up in the last 24 hours. Again, is it LDC?
Yeah,
Patreon?
Lupton Drinking Club. Patreon.com/ you can see the ticker down at the bottom. Patreon. Oh, we don't say this enough, but for the hundreds of you that are currently tuned in live, please go to our YouTube and subscribe. Even if you're not a big YouTube person, hitting that button really helps us out. So please subscribe to our YouTube.
It doesn't affect you. It affects us in a positive way.
Yeah, you can, even if you have to download the app and then delete it later, just subscribe. We'd appreciate that.
If you're still here, thank you for listening to Postgame Beers.
Yeah.
Great job, Jacob and Martin, on the previews. We've got one more preview show left next week.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of Ray and Garrett, who, isn't this funny how while the rest of the Metroplex is like hunkering down and kind of riding out the storm, we have 40% of our podcast having to work late 2 days in a row. Like we're supposed to record last night, but they had to work late. And then surely they won't have to work late on Friday.
No way.
Yeah.
They're trying to prepare for everyone else's comfort. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Next week starts the we're going to have multiple podcasts from here on out. I think. We've got some interviews coming up. You guys are going to be excited about not just the previews, but also actually talking to real people about.
Yeah, we have Chase Brunson and Tommy Lepore. We have what's Steven Schock from college baseball. I don't even know what he's up to these days, but we'll find out. And of course, we have Coach Starlos, our annual tradition of interviewing him a few days before opening day.
All these things coming up on Postgame Beers. Thanks for jumping in, guys. Appreciate you all being here. Go Frogs.
Go Frogs. Dude, I can't believe what Ray did.
Unbelievable. Like, can you